Morning, guys. Thanks for joining me. It's right about 9:30 in the morning, and I'm getting ready to do my second safe. The first safe I did this morning was a gate drop, and there wasn't anything in it. I didn't think there was. It was something I picked up at an auction, and it was pretty light, and there was nothing that we could really hear or feel inside it. This one, though, I picked up on Facebook Marketplace from a landlord. A tenant had moved out. He said it was a really wonderful young woman and her two kids, and said that she had a boyfriend, and the boyfriend and her broke up, and she moved back with family, and this was originally the boyfriend's. And the landlord told me that he texted the guy and emailed the guy and called the guy and left messages and everything else, and 120 days goes by, and he never picks it up, and he's got to get rid of it. So he did sell it, and I told him, I said, hey, if there's anything personal in here, or anything that maybe the boyfriend had bought for the kids or the mom, then I'll make sure to pass it along, because that's always a tough situation when you have to move out and move back in with family. I know what that's like, been there. So as usual, what I'm going to do is two videos. I'm going to do a tutorial video on how to manually manipulate a safe like this, and then I'll have a content video after that. So if you're watching the content video, we're going to zip through this tutorial and get right to the good stuff, the contents. If you're watching the tutorial video, let's get cracking. All right, so again, this is a really small, it's like a 10 gun safe, direct action. So when I move the handle, the dial does lock, so that's a giveaway for a direct action, and they're usually relatively easy to manipulate. Usually, I've had a couple that have definitely stumped me and been a challenge. So let's see. Let's make sure you guys can see that. So as usual, I'm going to get my little piece of paper up here, and I'm going to write 1, 2, and 3. And for today, what I'm going to do is use DDM. And for DDM, for a direct action, you do place it on the actual handle. You don't place it on the dial, because you're checking for deviations on the handle, and not within the dial. The dial doesn't really give you a whole lot, except for the third number. And we'll do that right now. So let's make sure that our DDM is good. And just give it a few clicks, make sure it doesn't change. Going to deviate a little bit, but not too much. So, and I'm going to put my glasses on so I can see the dial a little bit easier. So first thing we do for a direct action is we find the third wheel, the third number, hopefully. So for direct action, usually what you do is you go, clockwise, and then counterclockwise, and then clockwise. That's opposite a direct action. Opposite a gate drop. So just so it's a little easier in my brain and a little faster, I do gate drop and direct action the same way. So I'll actually turn it counterclockwise, which means the numbers are increasing in value, and then I'll do do the dialing and the manipulation that way. It's easier for me. It works a little better in my brain. If you can't do that, or if you like to do the dial as the manufacturer meant it to, that's fine. I do this just because it's easier for me. And then once I get the numbers, when I give away the safe or sell the safe, then I'll just use a quick crack method to find what the numbers are, going the proper way. So the best way is whatever works for you, and you just got to keep that in mind. So all right, so first thing we're going to do, let's see if we can find what the third number is. So I'm going to go ahead and isolate all the wheels by going clockwise to 0, and then now I'm going to put a little pressure on the handle, and I'm going to move. Oh, we're in the first one already. So the first one is 1.5 to 4. So that's 2.5. All right, so we're going to remember that's 2.5 for that. And then we're going to turn the dial back to the lock position. move past 4, we'll go to about 6. Put a little pressure on the handle, and then keep turning the dial up until it drops into the next slot. So this is 14, 15, 16, 16 and a half. So again, that's 2.5. Right, 1, 2.5. Yep. So that matches what the first one is. So now we just keep doing that. All right, and then make sure once it drops in that slot, release the pressure from the handle. Because the other thing you can do is if you do add a little bit of pressure, I can actually feel the locking mechanism rubbing inside the little slot, hitting the bottom of it. So that's just a guaranteed giveaway that it is not 30, which is where I am now. And that deviation again is 2.5. So that tells me more than likely everything that's 2.5 is not going to be the right one. So let's move it back. And that one fell pretty far into the slot. And you know what? Wow, I think I'm going to change my mind. I'm going to do that the whole way. I'm going to add a little extra pressure to the handle once it drops in, and I could feel it rubbing on the bottom where that slot is. And if there's something rubbing there, then obviously that can't be it. Yep. So 40's out. Same with this. Like about 54. Oh. So here we go. So 65, 66, it's moving freely. I can't feel it pushing on the bottom of that. So let's write 66 and have 65. You know, it's got that range in there from 64 to 66 and 3/4. So let's go to the next one. Yep, I feel it. Alright, so not that one. I'm not sure if you guys can hear it. Here's it without pressure. See, here's it with. It's actually grinding. So let's go back. Yep. 2 to 4 is the same. Yep, they're all the same. So it's got to be 65. There's almost no way that it can't be 65 unless there's some special mechanism that I've never seen. So that's a good sign. All right. So what do we want to do now? So the question is, do you want to... Let's go ahead and try to isolate the second wheel. And because I was thinking sometimes you can engage both wheels and you can search both wheels all the way around, and then once you get an indication, then you isolate just that section. But let's see if we can just do it the faster way and just isolate the second wheel, go through it, and then we'll just dial with the numbers. So maybe I'll do that technique another time, because that is a good technique, but I don't want to confuse you guys by that kind of advanced technique. So alright, so what we want to do is turn on our DDM. We're good. So since I dial the first wheel forward, we're going to isolate everything. And I'm going to jump to about 4 and then come back. And alright, so that went to 8, so now I want to jump to 96. So I'm going counterclockwise 96, and then I want to go clockwise all the way around, and now it's at 0. So now I've isolated the second wheel, and I'm starting at 0, which is great. So so now what we want to do is let's push that to 98. And then we go clockwise to 65. And I'm at 98.68. And of course we can do that a couple times, and that's pretty solid. So then we go 96. And then go 65. So there's 98.72. So there's always going to be a little bit of deviation, especially with these. These are not really high precision locking mechanisms. There's an 84. So we want to go 92. 65. So that's 64. That is a little bit more of a deviation than just kind of a wheel. So let's go to 90 and see if that stays or goes. 64. Okay. So it could be 92, 90, which would be like 91. Now let's push it to 88. And let's see if that goes away. Oh, it did. So now I'm back at 98.88. So I got an indication at 92 and at 90. So you know, we'll probably say that's a 91. But let's see if we get a bigger indication. That went to 0.64. So let's push that a little more. 86. That's exactly what we want to see, is just a little bit of indication. So we're at 72. And it was a big drop. It dropped down and then it came back up. That 72 is kind of a slow one. So it's possible that's okay, hold on. Let's go back. I lost my numbers, so let's just redial. So let's go back to 4. Go all the way back. Pick up our second wheel. And let's go to 86 and test. It's one of those times I was busy. 76. 82. 88. All right. 80. Now we're back on track. See, if you're ever in doubt on what you're doing, there's a 76, but it's definitely not that 64. Is just go back and redial, because all it takes is one mistake, and yeah, see, now we're still at 76, so it's lower, but it's not that big drop. One mistake to miss a number, and now you've missed your indication, and you'll go through the whole thing. And 72. All right. And number 72, 76, 70. Anyway, you don't want to, you want to make sure that you don't miss a number, you don't miss dial. 84. That's 0.84. I'm reading what the dial is giving me. This is 68 on the dial. See, boom, right there. So I didn't even make it. I hit 64 and I'm hitting the wheel. So what I have to do now is go back, make sure. All right, so we're going to push that, because it's not going to be in there. We're going to push that to 60. And then when we go back, okay, 60. And then we just jump right to 65. There's a 68, so it's dropped down again, but previously it was on 74. 58. 56. Well, I'll tell you what. 92. I'm going to put 62 on here, because it did have a jump and it jumped up way high. 50. So that 62 is a little weird. Let's just circle that as a, and we'll question mark it, because there was definitely something weird there. All right, we're at 48. And you know, sometimes that happens. 68, 46, 72. Now see, the other possibilities is 64, but it was 72 on the previous one. 42. Wow. So there's a big one. There's a big 42. All right. Oof. We're getting a lot of stuff on this. I wonder if this has false indications on the second wheel too, just like it does the first, where it's got slots. Because I'm thinking I had one at 62 and at 52 and now at 42 and 92, but that one continued to 90. So let's see what 40 is. See, 40 is that same. $42. Wow. This is very interesting. I like this safe. This is much more of a challenge. And see, now it's back up to 68. So what I'll actually do, let's go 34, is once I get this open, and I will get it open, I'm going to look and see what's at, you know, whichever one we open it up, we know it's either 91 or 62 or 41. I'm going to open up the actual mechanism, and I'm going to see what's in there. I'm going to see what caused that big dip on all three of these so far, because that's really, really interesting. All right, 32. See, again, 98.64, 30. Yep, look at that. 97.64. So that's a whole full indication, DDM value down at 30. I bet it is. I bet this has false indications. On the second wheel. Yep, because see, there's too many indications here. Let's go 26. So clever manufacturer. And you know, that's what I would do. I mean, I would have so many indications on every single wheel, it would blow your mind. I mean, why not? I mean, why would you not want to do that? All it's going to do is, you know, delay a manipulator like me into getting into it, but I can still get into it. Question is, am I going to hit it at 18 right here? Nope. Very interesting. I love it. I love it when it's different. There, 16. 97. So there's a pattern. So what we'll need to do, maybe, is go and find all of these. So this is, you know, 91, and then it dropped to 62, and there was a 52 in here, because remember we talked about that. 52, 41, 30, 16. So I got to think about this. I got to think about this while I finish the rest of the numbers. What do you guys think I should do? Put in the comment section. I'd love to hear your thoughts on, you know, what should I do 97.6. And if I go here to 14 or 12, it's going to disappear. Disappeared. That's what it is. Alright, so couple options here. You can map each one of the indications and see if you can find the one that deviates. Now right now this 91 is still deviating because I didn't have any drops at 80 or 70. Let's go 11. So that's still something that's a variant. Oh, so that was 6, 4. And as always, finish it up unless you just got a screaming good indication. Just 2, just finish it. Alright, so here's what we got. 91, 62, 52, 41, 30, 16. So here's what I'm going to try. I am going to try 91 because it's got the biggest distance between it, so it's isolated on the wheel. If that doesn't work, what I'm going to do is I'm going to map each one of these drops. And then what I'll have to do is start dialing the numbers, 2, 4, 6 for the first number, and then hit each one of these for each one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe there's 7, 65 we know is right. So you've got 50 times 7, so you're dialing it 350 times. Worst case, odds are you're probably going to dial it 150, 175, about 50%. You'll get there, depending on what the first number is. So that's really the best way to do it. If you can't find anything different about it, and the only thing different of this is it's 91, which is isolated, you got to dial each one. So let's do that to begin with. So I'm going to turn off my DDM. We're going to go ahead and start dialing like normal. So we're going to go 2, dial around, 90, 91, and then 66. Nope. Alright. And then we go to 4, 91, and 65. Nope. Push it forward. 6, 90, 65. Nope. Alright. 8. That's 90. Either one of these will work. 65. 10. 10, 90, 65. That sounds like a nice number, right? Nope. Alright, 12. 90. Oh. Oh, that feels good. So 14, 90, 55. Keep overshooting it, but that's okay. 16. I'm thinking in the back of my head, I'm gonna have to gonna have to do this. 16. I'm gonna have to map each one of these and go through it, which I've never had to do. 20. I've never had to map false indications on a second. It actually makes me think maybe the first one has them too. That may be why I'm feeling 22. I'm feeling changes in the dot in the handle, and it feels like it's going to unlock, and then it stops short. So like that one, that one's just feels locked. 24, 90, 65. Yeah, that one feels locked too. 26, 90. Whew. There. That moves further. So I think it is. I think there's false indications on all the wheels, which to me is kind of dumb, because then instead of 100 or technically 50, now you've changed it to 12 times 12 times 12, and if you knock down the first one to 1, it's 12 to 12, so there's only 120 combinations, instead of 50 times 50 if you're going by twos. So I guess they would do that to try to trick someone, but I don't think it really works very well. That's my thought anyway. Alright, let's get back to focusing. Alright, so we're on 30, 90, 65. I'm going to do this for grins and giggles, but I think I'm going to have to map all the wheels. And then you just go through the permutations, and you may be able to feel the difference. 34. So again, that's just what safe manipulation is. You got to listen to the safe. Put your pride aside. Don't second guess yourself. And again, really, this safe is telling me I've got false indications on all my wheels. Okay, cool. You take that information and you adapt. So there's going to be another false indication here. All right, I messed it up because I was busy talking. There's going to be another false indication here around 30, 32, 36. I'm on 36 right now. Just because, and they're a pattern. That's kind of the funny part, I think, is they have a pattern for the false indications. I mean, they're equally spaced, at least on the ones that I've done. I haven't had any that are really, they're not exactly evenly spaced, but 38. To some degree, they're evenly spaced, which makes it easier. So, oh. That one wasn't a false indicator, a false one. 38. So I was right. 38, and it was that one. The manufacturer had it to where the 90 was isolated. So it was a slot, and then there was a big old gap, and then the other slots. So again, I don't know why they would do that. I mean, I would have them equally spaced, or maybe slight deviations, but not a whole lot more than a few. To have big deviations like that, or big indications, is interesting. But you know what? They make the decisions. They're safe, and it's open. So thanks, guys, for joining me on this. How long has it been? I don't know how long it was. Probably about 30 minutes or so. Not too bad. Pretty standard for safes like this. Please comment. This one was definitely interesting. Very, very different than what I expected. I've done a couple safes like this, especially from this manufacturer, and they didn't have false indications on all three wheels. So very, very different. A lot of fun, challenging, which is I love. So please comment. Love to hear your comments. I answer everyone that I can. Please like, please share, please subscribe. Tell me you like the channel, and we're going to get to the content video now. So having said that, thank you guys for joining me, and get out there and get cracking. Have a good day.